everyone, it's Kendall here. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're not new around here, what is up, home skillet biscuit? And look at me making a video midweek. They said it couldn't be done. First of all, I would like to say, please pardon if you hear the mowing. It does not cease. So I figure if I'm gonna make a video, I'm gonna have to just hope that it doesn't show up in post. Several weeks ago, I said that I was gonna make a video very soon, in which I kind of did like a little big sis advice video, you know, answer some questions that y'all might have with no form of credentials at all, other than being slightly older than I was yesterday. My very short life lessons that I've learned, I can help you who even have shorter life lessons, because I'm coming to find out that a lot of my viewers are in that 18 to 25, my age range, where you're just like very confused. Like you're an adult, but you're like, I don't really know what the hell is going on. I've been there. I'm still kind of there. You know, I have moments. It's just a fun time to commiserate. And also I'm just going to do my skincare at the same time. Because I asked people, what do you want me to do while doing this? Should I just talk? And people were like, do your skincare. So there you go. Clean off my skin a little bit with some micellar water. This is just the Laura Mercier one. I don't feel particularly powerful about it. It's just micellar water. Now, I will say that I did generally glance over the questions. I noticed that there were two main categories. One that just had to do with relationships in all capacities, families, romantic, healthy relationships with people and things. And then the other half is like life. Like, what is it? Where am I going? I have no purpose, which tells me that y'all are 18 to 22. Cause like same girl. Or like maybe a few years out of college, so 25. Oh my God, that is disgusting. Ew. With that said, I did get a lot of questions, so I'm gonna try to answer as many as possible, but maybe there just needs to be like a part 2. What is the best way of making friends during college? Do activities that you like to do, okay? Take classes on things that you, because college is full of just BS classes that is like, I just need a credit. So use some of those credits to do BS that you like. Take a music class, take a acting class, take a painting class, you know, those frou-frou classes that they make you take. People that gravitate to those things tend to also have that same interest. And then you make friends like that. You're probably going to sit next to the same people in the class or join clubs that are of interest to you. Like try to put yourself in situations where people that enjoy the same thing are all in the same room, because you'll probably end up having to do organization stuff for this stuff anyway. So you get closer, you can communicate with each other, and it's a fun time. I got a lot of dating questions, which is hilarious because y'all know I don't really have a dating life. But I've learned some stuff in my like my years out here failing miserably. So I guess I do have some advice. So wow, this might be very like dating heavy. What to expect when dating while plus size, i.e. self-esteem, sex, other people's view of your relationship, etc. I guess I'll say this for every relationship question to take it with a grain of salt, because what do I know? As I go in with my mask, because I think it's a mask type of day. I'm gonna go in with a ginseng mask from I'm From. If you're dating and you're going out in public, integrated in their life, you're having sex with this person, they obviously don't care, so why do you so much? Like, now, with that said, if you feel like they're hiding you, if you feel like they're ashamed of you and you have legitimate reason, like ask them, have real conversations about, do you guys go places together? How long have you been dating? And it still seems like they're not really introducing you to people in their life, then there's more of a question. And if at any point you feel like this person is at all behaving in a way that's indicative of them being ashamed of you or wanting to hide you or embarrassed of you, then baby, fuck him. I'm assuming it's a man. They. In my experience, it's cute, but it's not. When guys like forget that I'm 6 foot tall and pounds, like it makes me very uncomfortable, because they'll be like, oh, sit on my lap. And I'm like, I will kill you. I will break your thighs. And it's always skinny dudes. I've noticed that, well, not always, but usually like it's tall, skinny dudes that are like, sit on me. And I'm like, I will literally destroy you and your memory. What am I supposed to tell your parents? Yes, he died death by ass. You know, I've gotten to the place where I'm like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of being self-conscious. You see this ass. You see this belly. You see your chub wub, and you want your wub up on your chub wub. Let them rub up on it, sis. Let them rub up on it, sis. They know what they got. They can see your fat ass. And that's not an insult. He love this fat ass. Because also, it just ruins your ability to enjoy the moment, man. It really does. Okay, I've gotten this question in varying degrees and word choices, so I'm just gonna nip this one in the bud. Adjusting to life after college, making that transition, dealing with feeling purposeless, directionless after college. Now, let me give you the tea. I graduated college in May of 2017. No one prepared me for like the emotional wherewithal, how much of an emotional undertaking it truly is. I can only speak from my experience, but I didn't realize how much schooling was a form of validation for me. And then to suddenly be thrown into the real world and say, no one's gonna give you a grade on how you're doing. You just kind of winging it. And let me tell you something, what I've learned is that all you can do is just keep winging it. Like when you're a kid, you look at teenagers. When you're a teenager, you look at college students. When you're a college student, you look at adults, and you're sitting there like they have it figured out. Truly growing up is telling yourself no one knows what the hell they're doing. We're all just winging it. So that's what this time is gonna be. You're gonna wing it. As far as like people that are struggling with direction, I like to say you have things that interest you for a reason. There are things that drive you. You have the things you love and the things that you enjoy doing for a reason. And that is because they are a part of your identity. They're a part of who you are and what you have to offer. So lean into that. Now, it may not necessarily become like a business venture or anything, and I'm not a huge advocate for like turning all of your hobbies into money-making ventures. I feel like it very devalues having a hobby if all of them are money-making ventures. Sometimes you just want to relax. However, I think it's really important that people recognize that they have certain skills and have certain talents, and that those are directional. Those do drive you in a direction, and you can use those to find ultimately joys and purpose because they're innate within you. They're things that you by nature enjoy and have talents in. So that's what I kind of tell people. It's like you don't need to know explicitly where you're going. You just need to be on a track that feels authentic and genuine to you. There's no rush. There's no like timeline. I need to figure this out by the time I'm 25, by the time I'm 30, yada, yada, yada. You know, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Oh, this one's also kind of leaning into that. How do I gain the motivation and courage to do the things I would like to do even though my family will not support me? That's still going back off of the thing that I just talked about in regards to like there's things that you want to do for a reason. I feel like everyone has motivations and goals and ambitions for a reason. I think each person is kind of designed with a domain in which they would like to succeed and thrive in. Now, as far as your family supporting you, I understand that support is a vague word. Sometimes it's financial, which is very tricky. But as far as like moral support from your family don't need to know everything you're doing. Just don't tell them. That's none of their business. I feel like everybody, and me included, because I have a bad habit of telling people like, this is something I want to do. But like the problem is when you're telling everybody what you want to do, this is what you want to do. Why are you inviting all these people in to have comments on something that you've already elected and decided within yourself is something that would be advantageous to you? So why are you inviting new opinions in? Don't do it, sis. Don't stop telling them everything. I don't know how to have a healthy relationship with sex. I think I'm pretty, but I feel like others don't. So I have reckless sex to get validation about my skills and looks. I like sex, but it's hard for me to differentiate between having sex for my own pleasure or doing it for validation. Again, I'm no therapist, but from reading that, if you're questioning whether or not you have a healthy relationship with sex, you probably don't have a healthy relationship with sex. If you're questioning whether or not you have sex largely for validation, you probably are. It might be helpful to really ask yourself, like right before you're about to engage or right after you've engaged in sex with a person, maybe do like a little journal. Like, what were you feeling before you decided to have sex? Or what were you looking for from the person or looking for from yourself before you had sex? And if you start to notice, you're noticing you're having sex more so for validation than for enjoying sex in and of itself or enjoying the person, like this time and sharing something like this with that person, then you might have a problem there. And also, like, a sex life in some ways is very validating, right? It's very like, I'm wanted and I'm desired, you know, in this particular way. But if it's becoming like a concern for you that it's swaying your ability to make healthy sexual decisions, that might be something you would like to talk to maybe a therapist about. How to deal with recent weight gain. Bitch, you see this? I have no collarbones. Like 2 years ago, it took me a whole year to lose like 38 pounds. Girl, that's me too. Then this quarantine and I've gained it all back plus some, and I'll take all the advice I can get. So here's the thing. Roll your hands up. I have a lifetime of shitty relationships with body image, weight, and food. And within the last, say, 2 years, I feel like I've really gotten better at just saying it is what it is sometimes. First of all, stop weighing yourself right now. Don't weigh yourself. You know you've gained weight. You don't need to know how much you gained. You know, okay? Like, I know. I've gained weight since quarantine, and I can tell I've lost a little bit from the heaviest I've been in quarantine. Stop weighing yourself right now. This is not the time to do it because it's just going to make you sad, all right? Also, acknowledge that it's still a fucking pandemic and it's been rough, okay? Don't beat yourself up for gaining weight during like a historical event that's very traumatizing to all of us, you know? My trigger during quarantine was that I could not fit my underwear. I was like, oh my God, I've gotten so big that my panties don't fit. No, I'm not gonna crash. I'm not gonna like go like weigh myself and then feel bad and like, oh my God, I'm bigger than that. That's not important right now. Right now, it's finding the joy in nourishing your body, feeling better with food, exercising because it makes you feel good emotionally. I did cardio today for the first time in a hot minute. I hate cardio, but oh, do I feel good afterwards. And acknowledge that the body that you have right now is still deserving of being taken care of, regardless of if it fluctuates up and down, whatever. Weight gain is what happens sometimes. It is what it is. Just take care of yourself. Eat white people salads. They're delicious. You know, eat your greens and your lean proteins and your all the stuff that's good to nourish your body, your fruits and whatnot. But don't be too hard on yourself. It's a pandemic, okay? How to become your own person and find your sense of self. I think introspection is really, really important for a lot of things. But to be able to acknowledge how you are, how you want to be. But also, to be fair, you're never really your own person, right? Because we live in a society. And acknowledging that it has its limitations. But you can learn more and more about who you are and who you are in different situations. Because sometimes you'll know who you are by yourself good enough, but then you meet a person that brings out a side of you that you didn't know you had. So that's a new side of you that you need to learn and say, hold up, this side of me has a whole new host of problems that I didn't even know existed. Or like you get in a new job and you realize you're not good at XYZ, so you want to become better at XYZ. You know, it's a lifelong process, learning oneself. So again, that's another thing that you don't have to rush. Oh, I'm getting a lot of how to deal with stress, particularly in college and in a lot of these questions. So 1, get organized. That will greatly help you. Get that calendar, get it color coded, get like seriously plan out as much as possible, because that really does help. That like looming, I know I have things to do, but I need to find time to study. I need to find time to wipe my ass. I need to find time to shower, yada, yada. That really does help. But, and then even scheduling a block of time, maybe once every 2 weeks, once every week or something like that, where you talk to and do nothing but enjoy your time. I recommend not being on your phone for this. So like not texting friends necessarily, which is fine too, if that's the thing you like to do and don't have time for, and that's really a self-care thing for you, sure. But I'm thinking like take a bath, go for a bike ride, cook if you like to do it, watch a funny movie, do a jigsaw puzzle, whatever. Just something that you're just away from others' expectations of you, and even to some extent your expectations of yourself, just away for a bit to center, and then you can come back with more energy, because you can't give from an empty tank, man. So you need to recharge. I need advice on setting clear boundaries and standing up for myself with guys. It makes me abrasive and annoying to tell them when I'm uncomfortable, which has caused me problems. Well, I know it's really simple to say this because I have been in situations where I'm like, I've done whole story times, so many about me being in uncomfortable situations with men and not really standing up for myself. So I definitely know what it's like. Let me tell you something. it's not your fault that you're uncomfortable when someone else is making you uncomfortable, right? And if they have a problem with you saying, stop making me uncomfortable, then they're not a good person. Like, they're not a good person in general. Like, if they're not going to respect your boundaries, that is not a person that you want nearby. So if they think you're bossy and annoying and abrasive, then that's someone that does not respect you, first of all, but like in general, does not respect people's boundaries. Seriously, let's be honest with men, that's dangerous. No, sis, if he has a problem with it, he can go. What to do to center yourself when you feel like everything in your life is falling apart? Is this my song? Is this for me? Sometimes you just sit there and cry. Just cry. Do painful, gut-wrenching tears and allow yourself to acknowledge and feel all of it. And if you need to give yourself like a specific time frame, say, hey, I'm gonna let myself feel all of this for 24 hours, 48 hours, so that you can accept, grieve, and acknowledge that you have to mourn something. Something isn't going the way you expected. Something isn't going the way that you thought it would be. So allow yourself the freedom to mourn that. And then it's easier said than done. Let go what can be let go. Sometimes the stresses that we have in life is because we're trying to hold on to everything, but not everything wants to stay. Because you'll also find a lot of the things that you're holding on to don't serve you anyway, right? It's not like they're there for a purpose. Now you're juggling 10 things when in reality, if you let certain things go that should be let go, you'd be juggling 7. And you'll find yourself like, hey, this is actually easier to manage. Mourn and let go. I don't know how specific that is, and I hope that's helpful to you, but I know for me in particular, acknowledging what I can control. And if I can't control it, it's not for me to control. Let it go. And it's easy to say that, but it's a lifelong practice of being like, is there anything I can do? Like, realistically, is there anything I can do? And if not, then there's nothing to do. Okay, this isn't a question, but there's somebody that I want to echo because they brought up something. Please tell the young girls not to be male-centered in their decision-making, sis. Not everything you do, everywhere you go, every decision you make is meant to be how you are more competitively advantageous to a man. I'm gonna leave that there. Thank you, Cleo, who said remind the girls. Yes, I got you. And I feel like a lot of young people feel like they have to rush into a relationship. I personally, and this is just me, I feel like you don't have the equipment to really acknowledge a relationship anyway before you're like 22, 23, and probably not even then to some extent. I really, especially women, especially young girls, I want to encourage you to spend as much time by yourself consecutively as possible. For people that are like, I don't know what I want, I have no direction, I have this and the other. Being able to introspect within yourself and not have to worry about the dilly-dally of another person is so helpful in regards to giving yourself direction. When you're trying to focus on yourself and your direction and not the direction of your significant other or somebody that you want to be your significant other and yada, 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 you're able to know who you are. And then you're able to acknowledge, I feel as though I've learned as much as I can learn about myself by myself. So let's bring a person in maybe now, or let me start getting out there. Me personally, I this year kind of threw a wrench in that, but I was about to get out here dipping in and doing it, and I'm still probably, we'll see. But I've been dip my toe out here, and I realized and I learned a lot of stuff, and dip and do blah blah blah. I learned so much new about myself, and it's scary and it's anxiety inducing. And it's not fun at first, but now I'm kind of enjoying it because you feel so powerful when you have this new knowledge and so capable, right? Don't make what you do center around men in particular. God. Ooh, someone asking about how to reach out to get mental health help. I hate to say this, but at least in the United States, it's more difficult than it should be. If you have insurance, start there. Ask them like, hey, what do you have available in regards to mental health help? If you don't have insurance, you can look into like cheaper rates for insurance and stuff like that in regards to that. Things like BetterHelp, and then like searching mental health agencies in your area. There's places like NAMI, which is like National Association for Mental Illnesses, that could help you find resources there as well. Look into that, contact them. Maybe they can say in your state, maybe what if you're in the United States. Oh my God, how to deal with a long distance relationship ghosting after 6 years. Wow. Well, just like any terrible situation in life, you have to mourn it. You have to allow yourself to mourn it. Allow yourself time. That's messed up. That's really messed up. So allowing yourself to acknowledge and be angry, maybe writing letters that you don't send because that person has shown where their priorities lie, and that's really disgusting and disturbing. But allow yourself to mourn and allow yourself to process. Allow yourself to be angry, because I would be, and just talk it out. For me, this is me, because this is the type of person I am. I'm mad about one thing in one avenue of my life, and I think of one person, I will ruminate over how that one person made me mad until I find a new person to make me mad. But one of the good things about that is that I'm able to look at the situation from so many different angles and really make peace with something not working out. When you sit there and think it to death, one of the things that happens is you think of, if this is the type of person they are, would I have wanted it to work out? If this is how they chose to communicate with someone they've been dating for 6 years, would I have wanted it to work out? That's a blessing in disguise, because it sucks and it hurts, but that's a blessing. Going in with the supple preparation toner. How do you handle a toxic family? Okay, so here's the thing about toxic family. That doesn't mean they're necessarily awful people. They just have toxic ways about them, or ways that are toxic to you. There needs to be a barrier created. Now, everyone's family is different, so to what extent and how you go about that, ultimately you have to discover for yourself. For me, my family was very opinionated, I should say. That's how they showed it. Everything was an opinion to them. And it got to the point where I just had to explicitly say, I did not ask you for that. That is my boundary. I'm allowing you to understand and hear. I know how to ask you for advice. I know how to ask you for those things. I did not ask you for that. Please stop giving me unsolicited advice. And again, it's hard to give a specific answer because everyone's dynamic with their family is different. But for my particular dynamic, that was very healthy and necessary. I know this is a tough one, but how have you dealt with deaths from really close relatives? How did you deal with the death of your mother? Sorry, I just mumbled that whole part. Sorry for your loss, and I respect you for sharing that type of information on your platform. For those of you that don't know, I lost my mom. Jesus, these months are going so quickly. It's been almost 2 months now. So obviously I'm very fresh in the grieving period or whatnot. And so I'm noticing that all these answers tend to wind around themselves, right? Losing, particularly a parent, is truly the hardest thing I've ever gone through. And I'll just say that explicitly. And also, grief is a weird emotion. I found myself at her viewing making jokes. I didn't cry a whole lot. Not because I was trying not to. I just didn't feel moved to tears. When I saw her in the casket, it was just kind of it didn't feel real. It still doesn't. I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, it feels like I'm living in a simulation, and once everything goes back to normal, my mom would be back. That's not what it is. That's not reality, right? One of the first things I did right before she passed, and I was I knew she didn't have much time left. I got a therapist, because also I wish that it was just my mom passing away. That was the thing that I was dealing with. But there was a whole lot of other very, very complicated things in relation to my sister. Maybe one day I'll feel more comfortable talking. I've talked about it on other platforms of mine, but I don't know what it is about YouTube. Bringing that particular conversation to YouTube is a very sensitive place to me. So I've just never done it. But my very complicated relationship with my sister was also something I was dealing with while dealing with the death of my mother. I got a therapist. And beyond that, I got active. And what I mean by that is I sat down and I did, again, acknowledged all of the emotions. If I want to cry, I cry. If I want to laugh, I laugh. If I want to hear her voice, I listen to videos that I have of her. And I'm so blessed to have those things. Those are a great comfort. But also acknowledging that death is a very final thing. And if there's nothing left to do, what is there for me to do but continue to live my life? I think another thing that's been really helpful has been acknowledging the ways in which I would like to break cycles This might be more specific. It's acknowledging the struggles that my mother had and coming to peace with those as well. Like recognizing that my mother was the daughter of her mother who had certain struggles, who was the daughter of her mother who had certain struggles, right? And one of the things that's been very empowering to me recently is that I've had the ability to acknowledge a lot of just generational that in some ways led to my mom, in a lot of ways, led to my mom dying very early. And one of the things that made me feel powerful is that I will be the end of those things. I'm not saying I want to be, I will be the end of a lot of those things that led to women in my family giving up on themselves, not acknowledging their power and their strength and their abilities and their capabilities. I will be the end of that. And that is a very, very comforting feeling because I'm making myself proud, and I know my mom's somewhere proud that, man, I created a bad one. That's my daughter. And that's been very, very comforting as well. That might have been way too specific. I will be the end of a lot of generational curses. And that's exciting. Wow, I'm about to tear up. Wow. I don't want to end on such a heavy note, so I'm going to do a few more questions and then we can end there. Oh, there's some coochie questions in here. I'm going to just leave this real quick. Just wash it with water. Please stop putting soaps in there. It's not supposed to smell like roses. It's not supposed to smell like flowers. It's a vagina. Don't need summer's eves and all these like things. Let's make my vagina smell like lavender. It's a vagina. It's not supposed to smell like lavender. If I see another girl on TikTok going on like, this is how you make your vagina taste like a fruit salad. Y'all doing all this for men that will not give you an orgasm. Who looks stupid? All he have to do is look up where a clitoris is and you over here trying to do hocus pocus to make your pussy taste like fruit salad. It's gonna smell like a vagina. It's going to all the things that a vagina, if it's healthy, it's gonna do the things that vaginas do. Wash it with water. Stop using all this flower scented crap down there before you get the itch. It's not dirty and something that shouldn't be talked about. Same thing with periods. This is so weird. It's a part of the body. Some people like Kendall remind them to pee after intercourse. Pee after intercourse so you don't get a UTI. I'm gonna do one more question because I feel like I've been talking forever, and I'm sure when I edit this I'm gonna find out that I didn't really make any sense at all. How the hell do I deal with unrequited love? I feel like what's more of an important question is asking yourself, why do you want a love that was never promised to you? If it's unrequited, this person does not love you, right? So like, what validation do you get from a person who's never promised to love you? What are you looking for from a person that has given you nothing? Not that they're a bad person, right? They're not obligated to love you. But what I'm saying is like, what do you get out of that? How does that serve you to desire a person that's committed to give you nothing? Like for instance, me. I know that I love an emotionally unavailable man, which is a me problem. And you got to sit there and ask yourself, why do you want people that for whatever reason are not present, like aren't there, aren't validating you in that way? I could go on and on about validation, and maybe if we ever get to like a second, maybe if I get around to it, get ready with me. I've been thinking so much about the concept of validation, particularly as a black woman, as a creative and also a heterosexual black woman, so dating men, dealing with men, especially as a black woman who's open to dating interracially. There's a whole lot there. But yeah, it's the concept of redirecting where you find your validation from and where you invest emotional capital into. If you're in an unrequited love situation, you're literally saying, give me nothing and I'll give you the world. And I understand that's easier said than done. We have feelings. We like who we like. We love who we love or whatever. But it might be just a thing of saying, hey, this is a poor investment. Granted, that's how I think of my emotions. So maybe that's just a Capricorn thing. I think of it as an investment. I'm like, this is a bad investment. There's so many people out here. 7 billion. There's too many people out here. But that is all for today. I hope this was at all helpful for you guys. It was just a little schmooze. If you guys like this, maybe we can do a part 2. Or if you have like other things that you'd like me to go more in depth in, that would be kind of fun too. Let me know. But yeah, if you like this video, be sure to like this video. Follow me on all my social media, Instagram and Twitter, both of which are KennieJD. And I will see you guys next time.